we go to Yatra. So there would be people who've just tuned in. So unke liye, so Trikone Australasia is a support group, you said?
Absolutely, yes. It's a support group that helps young people who identify as gay or lesbian find other people to meet and talk to, and at the same time have an environment where they can discuss openly their feelings, and at the same time help them eventually come out to their loved ones.
And basically this is for the Indian subcontinent, is that correct?
That is correct,
so,
yes.
So countries like India, Sri Lanka and Pakistan.
That is right. Because of the cultural differences within the Indian subcontinent, our process of coming out is somewhat different to say the Anglo or the Western mentality, whereby it's a little bit more, I don't know, you'd say probably a bit more liberal, but at the same time it's very, very special and unique in its own way. So we try to nurture that.
Okay. So कितने members हैं अभी आप लोगों के?
अभी we have around 300 plus members, out of which we've got maybe about 50 who are generally quite active, and they come to a lot of regular events, and they come to a lot of the dance parties that we host as well, and to places like Yatra.
And how is the acceptance of the gay and lesbian community in the Indian wider community?
In the wider community, it's growing quite rapidly, only because we are quite visible, and thanks to programs like yours as well, we are gaining that visibility. But obviously there's still a long way to go, because a lot of people still struggle with the idea of coming out to parents particularly, and it becomes such a big thing for them, and it's just overcoming that personal conflict.
हाँ, मैंने attend किया था आप लोगों का Let's Talk.
Yes, that's right.
उसमें in fact I was supposed to interview those 3 people, and they came from India, and young people, and they didn't know how to go about doing it, and so they struggled, and their families were struggling, and some of them hadn't even told their families as yet. So they've come out here, but they haven't told their families back home. So yeah, it's quite a mixture, and it's quite sort of difficult, I think, for the youngsters.
Yes.
Especially in India, where it's not. It's criminal. It's a criminal offense.
At the moment, it is a criminal offense. To be homosexual is a criminal offense, or to conduct homosexual activity. And obviously, these are remnants of an ancient British law that has been left there. Britain itself, the UK itself, has moved on, but India is still retaining that colonial era regulation called Section 377. So that's one of our strong points for our agenda this year, is to try to raise awareness about Section 377. I think the issue is that we don't really have a role model as such, someone who is an outspoken voice in India, within the Indian community, who is encouraging young people to come out, because a lot of people still fail to live up to their parents' expectations.
Of course. So listeners, यहाँ का number है 93313000. If you want to talk to Kunal about Trikone Australasia and about any gay and lesbian issues that you might be facing, I mean, you can make a confidential call and talk to him right now. Or if you're a youngster who's struggling with these issues and wants to talk to Kunal on air or off air, you're welcome to call 93313000. Not only that, but so tell me about Yatra. Yatra mein kya hone wala?
Yeah, Yatra, it's a Bollywood style production, obviously, because we've got Bollywood running through our veins, so we've got a lot of dancing and singing, but it's essentially about a young gay Indian guy who lives in Bombay, who somehow magically time travels back to the time of the writing of the Kama Sutra. To reveal any more would be would be spoiling the fun. So what I'd say is just come over for opening night, or any one of our 6 shows that is happening over the period between the 19th of February and the 28th.
Yep. And वो आपने जो last play मैंने आपका देखा था उसमें अर्जुनी का आपने.
Yes.
Arjuni, I'm sorry.
Arjun and Arjuni. So we tackled some mythological.
So what was that? Yeah, I mean, I understand, but for the sake of our listeners and Jackie and Rajat. Yeah.
So what we were trying to show with that play was that homosexuality is quite heavily ingrained within Indian mythology, and we've got quite a few gods and goddesses as well who actually tackle that head on. And in fact, there is a story about Arjun, the great archer of Lord Krishna, who transforms into Arjuni as part of his process of self-discovery and his interactions with Krishna over that time. So it's been mentioned it's part of the Vedas, but at the same time there's still that element of phobia when it comes to transsexualism. Obviously that's changing now. We've got the first transgendered, or as they say, Hijra minister in India who has just been elected.
Really? So, who's this?
I don't actually recall the name itself, but it's in a state just north of Punjab, and it's the first transgendered minister who has been elected. Yeah. So and they're officially recognized as the third gender now as well.
Yeah, because अभी तक जो भी gay and lesbian जो portrayals हैं in Indian cinema, they are very sort of, they make fun still. Yeah, it's not taken, except in that movie Fire, and which led to a lot of upheaval, a lot of problems in being accepted. But अभी तक जो भी फिल्मों में होता है, it's either made fun of or the character is caricatured. You know, it's not. There's no serious discussion about that issue.
Not yet, and it's still quite comical. I do agree with you in that it's very caricaturish, but I think that is a very important step, because only when you start by making fun of it to begin with, then it becomes dinner time conversation, and then after a while there's more knowledge about this being an actual issue, and over time I think it grows into something more serious. So I think you've got people who are currently bringing it, introducing it in film slowly, and I think that is actually quite an optimistic start.
Okay, all right. Look, listeners, still an opportunity. 9331 3000. Trikoneaustralasia.org is their website. You can go there if you want to talk about anything. And so for the last time, YATRA, when is it happening?
Yep, it's opening on the 19th of February.
19th of February.
To book your tickets, just head over to trikone.org.au/YATRA.
Okay, all right. All the best,
Thank you, Manbir.
Kunal, for this. And listeners, if you have any questions, you can call 9331 3000. And if you're grappling with this issue at home, and you don't know how to handle it, you can go to trikoneaustralasia.org. And maybe if you're a youngster struggling, or maybe as a parent, if you're coming to terms with something like this at home, so there are a lot of resources there, and there's a lot of help there, a lot of support groups, and a lot of people who will understand you. So मैं हूँ मनबीर कोहली, और thank you Kunal very much for this.
Thank you, Manbir.
Yeah.